Today we have an amazing guest. His name is Gavin Rain. We have his book here. Good morning, everyone. We are waiting for Gavin to join us. Yay, he's here. Let's go to invite Gavin to join. So please prepare your questions. There's many things to ask to Gavin about his technique, about his artwork. Hey, Gavin, how are you?
Hi, Perla. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's a beautiful morning in Mexico. And you?
It's a bit rainy here, actually, but all good.
Great. Why don't we start telling our guests where are they? Where are you? Sorry.
Oh, I'm in Cape Town, South Africa at the moment, which is where I'm based. My studio is also here, but it's in the industrial area, a little bit of ways away from here, which I haven't been able to get to because of the pandemic. Next week onwards, we're going to be going back to work slowly, surely, so I'll be able to get some stuff done, hopefully. You're back.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn all the stuff
So
off.
people is starting to say hello, to prepare some questions. So
Hi, everyone.
I have your book here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I have already some. Well, you will going to introduce yourself about your work, about your technique, about because I know you are a neuropsychologist.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how you mix the science with art, and I'm very interested on your technique, on your inspiration, and a word that I found here, the gamut. So you have many things to talk and to share with us about your artwork.
I hope so.
So if you want to start, where you want to start from?
Sure. I mean, if there's anything you'd like to ask to get us kicked off, I'm keen to answer anything. If anybody wants to ask any questions at any time, please chip in. We'll try our best.
Yeah. So people, please listen carefully. We're going to speak about Gavin's technique, which is very, very unique. So, why you choose to study neuropsychology and art? Why you thought about that science and art mix?
It's an interesting combination, isn't it? I've always been interested in visual perception, and in neuropsychology, my master's degree looked at visual perception with autistic children and how they perceive faces and how they understand things. That's a good question. Rajas, Shalom Rajas 72 asked me why circles, but I'll get to that. Oh, thanks. I'm trying to read the comments and answer at the same time. Okay.
Don't worry, I will share you the questions that they write.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Odile. I've always been fascinated by the way we perceive faces and how we understand faces. And my style kind of breaks the face down into its simplest parts. Why circles? Because when I first started, I was trying to sort of emulate a digital photograph and make my paintings look like digital photographs. Like I thought it'd be interesting to go from, because digital photographs go from analog to digital. I thought it'd be interesting to go the other way, to go from digital to analog. So that's why I started with circles, to make it kind of look like a sort of a digital photograph originally. Yeah, that was when my paintings were still on a black background. So yeah.
Okay. I want to share a painting of yours from the book, so the people
cool.
that I see this one. So now people can
Oh
see
yeah.
that if it's very close, you see circles as the person was asking, Shalom, and if you go away, you look the painting, right?
You see Elizabeth Taylor, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
So
So
yeah,
share.
so that was relationship. I was interested in doing. I was studying psychology, neuropsychology, as you said at the time. Got into painting full time much later, but by then my love of psychology had already taken hold. So I was trying to make that connection. Yeah. You're gonna have to translate that one for me,
Let
Paula.
me. Yes, no, it's because I think my Wi-Fi is not going very good. Let me just uh,
Oh,
try to, just a second.
she's frozen.
It's better. I hope.
That
I
better?
hope you'll see me better. Yes, yes.
Okay,
So
we're good.
how do you start? Because I know you use a previous image or a picture, something, and from there you
Yeah,
start with the numbers and right.
yeah. I start normally with a photograph or a sketch. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
sort of a combination of both, and then I break the whole photo down into black and white, and then I look at each block, and I look at how light or dark each block is, and then when I know how light or dark it is, I have this sort of set of cards, and I can compare and say, okay, so it's like more like number 3 gray. I'll know how light or dark. Based on that, I will then work out how big or small the circle should be, because the background behind the circles is white. So if it's a very light area of the painting and I paint a very small circle, you'll see a lot of white behind it. And if it's a dark area, I'll paint a very large circle, and then you won't see the background. So that kind of is a bit like a half-toning process in printing. And
I want
also,
to share that,
it
like
yeah, okay, cool.
here
Yeah, oh, there we
people
go.
can
Yeah.
see, right?
Thank you, Jack.
You start to.
Yeah, so
I'm
so
trying to put images to your words.
thank you. So that's basically how the sizing works. It's a lot also like a woodcut process in art. It's based sort of on a combination of a woodcut process in art and a half-toning process in printing. That's kind of the mathematics comes from 2 ideas. So that's where it starts here. David's clapping. Thank you, David.
And here a person, Elva, is asking, has the pandemic affected your work?
Yes. I work with a couple of assistants in Cape Town, and I've sent them all home because it's just too dangerous for anyone to travel with public transport and things like that here. So I'm not painting at all at the moment. But from an artist's perspective, it is actually quite useful to have some downtime where you can actually plan all your new stuff. And it's in periods like that I often get some of my best work done. About 6 months, more like a year ago now, I took off a couple of weeks to plan a new type of art, new sort of cross between a sculpture and a painting. And I didn't paint at all for a couple of weeks, and then I actually got into it. I'm being asked a question there. I'll get to that.
Yes, I will show them to you.
Is that next? Okay. And then I kind of came up with something new. And this period has been a period of sort of involuntary isolation, but also self-isolation. Artists do that quite a lot anyway. It's an important part of like rebooting things. So, yeah. It has affected production of art, obviously, because I can't paint at the moment. But,
Yes.
It's only a very small part of being an artist is the actual painting of the work. Most of the art comes from sitting and thinking about it for long periods of time. Yeah.
How long it took you to arrive to this technique to have this result?
About 2 years, actually. I came up with the idea, oh my goodness, probably around about 2004, 2003, 2004. It took me about 2 years to figure out how to do it. I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't figure out the mathematics that was required in order to do the painting. So that took me about 2 years. And then I've also sort of been branching out as we go, and every sort of edition takes a year or two as we go. So I come up with an idea, but then only much further down the line does that idea actually come to life. In fact, I've got a piece here with me, which I've just finished, which has been the result of about 2 years of research, which
Wow.
I haven't shown anyone yet. So we're going to have like a little reveal.
Yay! I love revealing.
Nooch just joined. Hey, man.
Also, we have
So
other artists that are seeing you here, like Alexander Mignot, Yango,
yeah, Nooch is here as
Alberto.
well. He's a great sculptor. So we got some good people
Oh,
in here.
hello, hello.
Hi,
Very
everyone.
creative people.
Yeah, good crowd.
So you're gonna show us the piece right now, or you just want to wait a bit?
Well, I was going to answer that question
Okay.
that I just saw appear there, which is sort of why I'm interested in collaborating with organizations such as Unique Luxury. It's actually a very good question, and it's not something I get asked a lot, but it's a super important part of being a professional artist, and that is that I never think of myself as Gavin Rain. I think of Gavin Rain as a collective, as a collaboration. I'm a part of Gavin Rain, but I'm only a small part of Gavin Rain. And for me, being an artist and being part of Gavin Rain means that you work with your assistant and your studio manager, and you've got your worldwide distributor and your agent, and you've got your galleries, and you've got organizations such as Unique Luxury. And art is very much about a conversation. You're having a conversation with someone. That's what a painting for me is. You're saying, hey, look at this. What do you think of this idea? And I can only be part of that conversation, So to reach a wider audience and to work with a wider audience, you need galleries, you need organizations such as Unique Luxury who are able to communicate with the other side of things, with your patrons and with your buyers and with people that are interested in the arts and that kind of thing. So that part of the conversation you need to leave to people that are professional at this and proficient at it. And those are people like Unique Luxury. And they're a very important part of the whole art picture. And,
Yes.
and for me, they're a very important part of Gavin Rain. So my galleries like Smith Davidson, which you guys are working with,
Yes.
forms very much a part of who it is to be Gavin Rain. I see that, I see all of you guys as part of that whole biosphere, if you want.
Yes.
Art
And makes
sphere.
a whole, makes
Absolutely.
one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can't do art. You can't be a part of art without that. So it's a very important part of the picture. So it's actually quite a nice question to answer because it explains a lot about what it is, to my mind, to be a professional artist. Yeah.
And we are, as Jack said, we are very excited to showcase your artwork
Thank
and
you.
to work with you and to
It's great.
share
It's
with
great.
you.
I met all you guys in Miami
Yes.
at the end of the year, which was quite a party. I don't know if I've quite recovered from that party, but it was great.
Yeah, with the gastronomic experience on the art suite, and it was like
Yeah,
a real synergy of
that
the
was
arts,
great.
right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was immediately a good fit, and anytime I work with an organization or a gallery, I really like to meet the people. So it was a great experience. What is my inspiration to do my pieces? That's such a hard question to answer, Jesse. Wow, I'm inspired by a lot. I mean, I think artists are inspired by everything, but it's not something tangible. You know, you're not just, oh wow, that is a beautiful statue or something. You're inspired by the strangest things, you know. I'll tell you the strangest thing. I was baking bread earlier, and I was inspired by the fact that the bottom of the loaf was much darker than the top. And I was trying to figure that out. And I was like, oh, because the heat is surrounding it. And then that got me thinking to how color works and temperature works and how color is affected by it. And then an hour had gone by. The bread was cold. And it's really everything. I think being an artist means just look at the world analytically. And you spend a lot of time looking at the world analytically. And that is inspiration. Yeah, it's using that lens that is inspiring. Hey, Francois, welcome.
And recognizing also all that inspires you, right? Because if you don't recognize it, you just are like blind.
No, absolutely. That's a good point, actually. It is important to think about that and work sort of into your narrative what that inspiration is, because it is a part of the story as well. Absolutely. I mean, I'm inspired by a lot of people that are in my life, or you know, the great society, socio-political society in general is very much inspirational. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So here we have another question. Jack is asking, your art has been evolving. Can you explain us what makes it different?
Wow, good question.
Very good
These are
question.
hard, man. What makes it different? What makes my art different from other people's art, or what makes my art different from the stuff I've been doing in the past? I'll start by answering the latter. Nothing. Idea. I've got the same ideas. I've got the same love of science, mathematics, and art, and I see them as very much part of the same thing, which is to push forward towards the edge, to find the boundaries between what we know and what we don't know, to push human experience out there. And I think that's what science and mathematics very much are striving to do from a very formal standpoint. And I think art is doing that in a sort of a less formal, more informal standpoint, to take you right to the edge of what we know and say, you know what, it's okay to be here. You can be comfortable in the unknown. And a lot of art, a lot of experiential art is about that. So to get back to the question, it's kind of like I'm evolving in a sense, but I don't think it's an evolution in the style, more in that I'm just adding more to the story of what I'm trying to say. I'm adding more to that conversation, if that makes sense. So I'm adding new things on now. I'm starting to do sculptural ideas, but they're not, I don't think of them as an evolution. I think of them as just kind of adding to that conversation, to that story. I'm kind of trying to just simply expand that. Yeah, it literally is that conversation. I'm literally just trying to expand that conversation. Yeah.
And how many hours or how long it takes for you to have a painting, to have one piece done?
Wow. I'm going to get back to Andreas's iconic public figure question. It's strange. It takes me longer to plan the painting than it does to paint it. So the mathematics side of things takes about a week and a half. No, more like 2 weeks. And the painting probably takes about 10 days. By the time I've planned the mathematical part, it's super fast to do the painting because I know exactly what needs to happen where. Yeah, so
I want to share how you make your mathematics and create the circles for each one of the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Oh, that looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, it looks
sure.
Like
yeah, I mean, you can see the numbers on the left there. Those numbers are basically the numbers that I get from the cards, and that tells me the size of a circle. So I'm just literally looking at a number that I've kind of recorded from the image, because I've broken it up into like grays, and I'm like, okay, this is a number 3 size circle, or 3.5 size circle, and then I gradually create the image that way. So that's kind of how that works out here. Andreas
Sotomayor. What's your
Sotomayor.
iconic?
Andreas, I love doing icons. I find things to do icons. I also like painting people that are unknown. I did a, and I'm not going to remember her name now, but that's authentic, because if I just sprouted off the name, wouldn't have looked good. But there was a mayor of a town, and I do think it was in Mexico, and she was murdered by the drug cartels because she refused to relent. And painting people like that's also quite important, to actually create modern icons out of. I'll tell you a funny story. I did this show in I was invited to speak at a university there called A&M, and I didn't fly out with my usual agent. I went by myself. So I was sitting there having this big discussion after the lecture, and the students, and I'd taken with a lot of sort of iconic people, and one of the people, I'm actually not going to mention who right now, but one of the icons that I'd taken was a local in the town. She'd come from that town, and I didn't know that. Saying, you know, do you think that this will be in future? And I was like, well, probably not. And they all kind of looked at me, and I was like, what? And then the assistant was like, no, she's from here. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, then sure. You know, I mean, what does it mean to be? I like to try and create icons out of people that I think should be iconic, but I also like to paint classic icons. Who am I going to do next? I've actually just been commissioned to do a painting of Marilyn Monroe. I've done a few of those. Those are obviously quite popular. She's quite iconic, as you can imagine.
Yes, we have one.
I do a lot
here.
of commission work. So, okay. Yeah, so it's not really up to me a lot of the time. As I said, you know, Gavin Rains, I'm a part of the idea. So a lot of those requests and things come from the patrons themselves. Yeah.
Here we have a classic
you,
painting.
Ah, yes, the Venus.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice piece. It was quite hard to paint, actually. That line down the middle was nuts.
Which
kept
one?
Getting the greens wrong. Like the sort of the wavy line. That was, yeah, it was a nice piece. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't choose. Often it's chosen for me, which is fine, because as I said, you know, I'm part of that conversation. And that's how it goes.
You're just like the channel to make it happen.
Yes, absolutely, and that's fine. That's how it goes. You know, any exposition in Spain currently or soon, not at the moment. I do have a gallery there, but we haven't done anything there. I think I should. I think I should be getting around. I think it's time. It's going to be tricky at the moment, you know, but when things settle down, and I think that's going to take a while. I think we're still looking at about another year before things get anywhere close to back to normal. Hi, Eltrin. But after that, yeah, I think it is time to actually get out there. I'm working on this project, which I'm like 6 months down the line working on it, and nothing to show yet. But it is going to involve me doing a lot of travel and a lot of collaboration and meeting people pretty much all over the world, which is part of the idea behind the work. So I will be getting out there. I do end up being stuck in the studio a lot painting because it takes a lot of time. So I don't often get a chance to do stuff like this and talk to people, which is actually quite nice.
Well, in your traveling, we hope you can come to Mexico. You have the opportunity to.
I'd love to come back. It's been too long.
Yes.
No, it would be
How
lovely.
long
I'd
that you
love to
have
come
been
back.
here in Mexico?
Sure, that's a good question. About 3 years ago, I think, was the last time I was there in Palanca in the old district. Yeah, about 3 years, I think, roughly. Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah.
Best tequila.
You have to come and see the yes, and to have a with us at Cipriani also.
Oh yes, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, no, it is. It's on my books. It's on my books to come. But definitely, I have to come back.
So we are
There's
ready
also
to
another
see
reason, but I
the.
won't get into that now. But it's part of
Okay, okay. You like the mystery.
well, no, I just take very long to plan stuff.
Okay.
You know,
So we
a
are
lot of
ready to
art is
see.
about thinking, and yeah.
Why don't we see the new piece?
Okay. Okay, so this is an idea that I've had a long time ago. It combines my style of painting with a sort of a sculptural idea. I've tried one of these, which I think you saw at Art Miami in December. This is a slightly this one's more exactly based on the style that I'm currently painting in. So I'm gonna show you here. So here are the dots. You can see they're actually made out of wood. So it's
Yeah, I was
quite
going to ask that.
So I hope that's coming through. The light's quite yellow here, so you're losing a bit of the color. So that's the wood that I'm using.
Wow.
Yeah. There we
Is
go.
that Marilyn?
It is. Good job. So, yeah.
So it's basically same technique,
So
but with wood instead of painting?
Yeah, it's with actual pieces of wood. It's actually on both sides. Thank you, Revenge of the Moo, Helen. So this is it's on both sides, the wood. So, but it's very heavy. So I'm not going to try and spin it around now because that could be a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, it's a sculptural piece that the idea I've been working on for a long time, but to figure out how to do the different levels and how to cut each piece took me a very long time to do. It sounds easy, right? You just cut a circle out of wood, right? It's not.
Not at all easy. So
Yeah,
you
so
cut
it's
each
I'm
piece.
trying to figure out. Like you can see, like there's some very small. There's a piece here. Where's my finger? This is quite tricky.
No, I don't see it.
Yeah, I know. You and me both. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see there's very small pieces, and then these are indents, and then there's an indent. So each of them has to be painted and then assembled, which is
a great job. Yeah. How
Thank
long
you.
It took?
So this took. It took about 6 months to figure it out. And it took about a month to actually do all the spray painting and all the assembly and things like that. My assistants have been working on this with me for a long time, but it's coming together. It's coming together. So this is something that is a sort of a cross between sculpture and painting in terms of my style. So we'll see. We're still looking at it and how we're going to distribute this. It weighs a ton, but yeah, we'll get there. And see how that goes. So that's what I've been working on, and it's periods like this where we've got like downtime is where I think about these kinds of things, and I get to do a lot of planning when I don't have a lot of commissions. Although funnily, I've been doing a lot of commissions in the past month. So I don't know, but I have had time to sit and plan and think these kinds of things through. So this is the result of one of those periods of Yeah, time.
of isolation. And I wanted to say that it's an amazing result, and I would
Thank
love
you.
to have the possibility to have that piece here in Mexico or
We
another
should do that.
similar. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
have
I'm
to have
actually,
new
I want to
pieces.
do, because they take so long to do, what I think would be useful to do is to edition them. So to actually do, let's say 10 or 20 of these pieces at the time, because it'll also make it easier to produce. And once I've done the mathematics for one, then it's easy for me to do two, kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
So
And people can commission it also a piece like
absolutely,
this one, right?
absolutely,
So
yeah.
that's important
No,
for everyone to
absolutely.
know.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%, yeah. So I think that's how we're gonna work. So once I've got a couple, I think I should send one to you guys. That would be
Yes.
cool.
So exciting for us. It would be amazing. So if anyone wants to share another question, one question
Yeah,
more
ask anything. AMA.
before leaving, and also it's important for us to thank Smith Davidson Gallery that invited you as well to be
Yeah,
here.
Gabrielle and David, thanks so much,
Thank
and thanks
you.
to you guys from Unique to starting this conversation. It's actually really cool for an artist to take part in these kind of things. We're always stuck in our studios and we don't really connect, and it's important to have organizations like you behind us so that we can actually just connect with people, you know. I am hoping, Claudia, to come to Mexico next year. That would be wonderful. I will be drinking tequila and not
Exactly.
drinking so much mezcal, because that did not agree with me the last time I tried it. There must be a trick to it that I don't know. Say again?
Maybe for February, if Sonamaco
Yeah,
happens, you
it would be nice to see
your art as
Sonamaco. We've
well.
taken part in Sonamaco. Yeah, it would be nice. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how the world goes. Thanks, Nij. Tequila, yeah, just one
Exactly.
note
We will
that
have to
was
wait.
woo, last time was a bit touch and go.
Yeah.
There was a lot of tequila and mezcal. Wow. I went to see
We will take care
Teotihuacan
of you.
and I struggled. I struggled to climb. But it was cool.
People are saying they want to see more artworks. I don't know if you have some more artworks there. If not, promise us that
at home I
as the
don't have
first
any
day.
actual paintings.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you
But
can probably show some in the book. There are
yes,
some there.
yes, I'm gonna show them these.
Good
Let's
next piece for Mexican Thrifty. Who would you
let's try if
choose?
someone guess.
Oh, there we
who
go,
she is.
Grace. Yeah. What is your favorite artwork? Wow, difficult. Coming to London, hopefully soon.
I don't know why Gavin left by mistake the live. I think he's going to come back. Let's wait for him. Meanwhile, I'm gonna show you some more. This is a Russian bride. So this is not an iconic art. So Marilyn Monroe. We have here Gavin back. So let's invite him again. Well, you see Marilyn Monroe smile.
Here we go.
Hi, Gavin. Hi again.
I think our connection is jumping all over the place,
Yes.
but that's all right.
Yes.
All good.
So you were asked by your favorite artwork, and if you would make a piece of a Mexican celebrity, who would you choose?
A paint. That is difficult. Trying to think which Mexican celebrities I have painted.
Meanwhile, here another
have
one.
Have you got any suggestions? Is that why you're asking? Nelson Mandela, right?
Maybe people
Are there
can
any
suggest.
suggestions as to who I should paint? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
collaboration. So let's hear what
Yes.
people think. Cheers. Thanks, Shirley.
Frida, of course, Frida Kahlo.
Frida, I actually did a commission, believe it or not, of Frida about 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
That's an obvious one to paint, absolutely. You know, I mean, what an icon. Selma, I actually did. That's a very good idea. I need to do another Selma. I also did a commission of Selma about 3 or 4 years ago, which came out really well. I mean, she's just ridiculously beautiful. So it was super easy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But I think I should do another one. Yeah. I think that's actually a very good idea.
Let's find the third one.
Find a third one. Yeah. Someone give me an idea, guys. We've got Frida and Selma.
So you haven't answered yet. Which painting is your favorite one?
Yeah, I was dodging that question. Thanks for bringing it up again.
I thought it was a difficult for you. So
my favorite. Wow, that's. You know, I don't think you can have a favorite because as you paint new works, you learning from your technique, you kind of taking your technique forward. And you therefore like every new painting almost becomes your favorite in a sense. Not all of them. Sometimes you'll paint something and you're like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's strange. I did a commission. One of my favorite paintings was of Lottie Moss, Kate Moss's younger sister. Not somebody that I know particularly well in any way. And the painting just came out, just the color just happened to come out perfectly for me. So I really love that painting. But I love paintings for completely different reasons than the painting. So it's difficult to Picasso is actually an interesting idea. Difficult, I think. Very difficult to paint. It could be an interesting one though. Yeah.
You have never done Picasso?
No, never.
Not yet.
Never done Uncle Pablo. No.
Okay, Olga. So if you want to commission your Picasso with Gavin, it's
okay. Oh, here's a good question from Claudia. Do you have an artwork that people loved and you don't really like it? I'm trying to think. Not really. Some of them I don't like because they were technically very difficult to paint. So I spent a lot longer on the painting and it became very difficult to get exactly what I wanted. But, you know, I've started to realize, I mean, over the past few years that when I see something, there's a dot or something that I really don't like. No one else tends to notice that. So, no, not really. There've been one or two that I thought I could have done better, and I will then often re-look at that subject in like a year or two. I'll come back and I'll look to do it. Yeah, it just depends. Yeah.
Where do you imagine yourself as an artist on the future, on the near future?
Where do I see myself going? That's an interesting question. I mean, basically, as I think I've said at the beginning of all of this, I want to expand this conversation. So I want to go to different audiences. You know, I understand that art gets very expensive, so I'd like to do some prints. I've always resisted the idea, but I've actually started working with a print studio, 2 print studios in Cape Town that are exceptionally good. And I think I actually would like to do some proper woodcuts and actually do some proper wood xylography type prints with them, which is very challenging, and I've spent a lot of time looking into it. And that just means that I can have a conversation with a different audience, you know, and I think that that's always a good thing, to just expand that conversation to as many people as possible. Yeah, so I think in the next year or two, that's kind of where I'd like to go. I'd like to continue painting as I am. I'd like to look at sculptural projects like this one, smaller versions, larger versions, just basically adding to that conversation from different angles, so people see it in different lights, maybe, and that could spark off interesting conversations with everyone out there as well. Why focus your painting on portraits? Very good question, David.
David
The
is an
reason
artist
is that,
from France.
oh, ciao, David. Welcome. The reason is that it's very difficult with my style for anyone to recognize anything else. You know, we're all experts in understanding faces. Even as babies, we recognize faces more than anything else. And therefore, it's very simple, even with a couple of dots, for us to work out, oh, that's a face. So it's something that is very suited to my style. But secondly, it's also by choice, in that I really enjoy portraying people, our connections to those people, our emotional connections, our reactions to people. That is part of that whole conversation. And my style has always been about stepping back to see the bigger picture. I mean, that's literally what you do when you look at my style. And in stepping back in one's own life, I think that one sees the people in one's life that makes you who you are, that's added to your story, that's inspired you. We were talking about inspiration earlier. That's inspired you, that's molded you, that you draw strength from, and that you draw inspiration from. So I think very much, for me, portraiture adds more to the story than if I painted something else. For me, it's very much about that part of the conversation, about who in our lives makes us who we are. We don't grow up in a vacuum, you know. We are influenced by people, positively and negatively. And that for me is a very interesting conversation to have. Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin. It's really interesting to speak with you, because we see the deepness that is behind your artworks, and it's
Absolutely.
amazing. Well, there you have a question. I don't know, before closing, if you want to reply to this question, if you want to add something else, and maybe we can schedule a second talk with you, because I believe that we could be.
Well, I don't really have a lot of questions. I mean,
No, but something that you would like to share, your love for dogs, for example, or anything.
You know, I mean, it's been a process, and being an artist is something that that you do forever. You know, it's not really a job; it's just who you are. It's not something that you switch off, which is why, you know, when I was asked earlier, "What's your inspiration?" It's kind of impossible to answer, because everything is your inspiration. Everything and nothing. It's how you look at the whole world. But you know, a lot of people come up to me and they say, "Oh, you know what? I could never do art, or I could never be an artist." And I say, no, that isn't the case at all. Everyone is an artist. Everyone can just look at the world differently. If you just look at the world differently, that is being an artist. You know, that is what you do. If you're just trying to look at light differently and the way we interact differently, that process is nothing mythical or magical about art. That process of looking at the world, of just spending time to look at the world, is art. That is what we do. And then we put it on a canvas to say, "Hey, look at it. Look at what I looked at differently." You know. But that is the process of what we do. Wow, there's a lot of questions. How many shapes did you try before you did the circle? I only started with circles, man, and then I tried a couple of sort of wavy line ones, but they were just massive to do, and it had taken me like 2 years to do mathematics or circles. So it's like, I'm sticking with these, man. Yeah. So I kind of started with circles, and I did the mathematics. I did all the homework on that, and then I thought, okay, no. And I love circles as well. And of course, they're quite easy to paint in a lot of ways. But I tried a couple of ideas, but for me, it started there, and I think it'll probably keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
We have another question from Shirley.
Yeah, what does Shirley say? I missed that one.
She says, in which stage of construction of your paintings do you connect the most with them? It's a good question.
Very good question. Yo, that's a difficult question, but I've never been asked that. It's a really good question. I think as I'm about to start painting, that's the point where where it all starts to come together, and I can start to understand how the form is going to look. And I think it's at that point that I connect the most. Nuja asked a question, but it scrolled. Oh, it was something like, if I didn't get paid for the painting, would it be any different? I think it was something like that. Can you scroll up and see? Would it be different? Yeah. Would it be different? No, I don't think so. It's not about what you paint. You know, and the question that I almost always get asked, which we didn't really get into now, is where do you get your inspiration from in terms of what you paint? You know, we talked about general inspiration, but it's not about what you paint. It's about how you are and how you paint that kind of makes you an artist. So my style is my style, whether I am selling the art or keeping it for myself. That's an internal dialogue. So the part that is actually the art, the painting or the sculptural idea, those are the product of the idea that you had, but they're not art itself. The art is inside your mind. Express that idea as best you can. And that's something that then people take away. That's the product that the patron ends up with. They end up with that part of the conversation, but the conversation starts in your mind, and that conversation is before there is that channel. So that conversation, it doesn't make any difference whether I can't sell that. It's not saleable. It's just the thought where the art starts, and that happens with or without anything happening beyond that point. Beyond that point, then you have your Smith Davidson galleries, and you have your Bunyo gallery, and you have Unique Luxury, and you have the people that take the conversation further.
Yes.
But the first part of the conversation, though, is it's irrelevant what's painted. It's how I'm processing it and how I'm working through it that is the art for me. Yeah. So it would be the same. Short answer. It would be the same.
Gavin, thank you very much for your
You're
time,
welcome.
for sharing all your thoughts, your art, your mind, your stories, everything
You're
with
most
us.
welcome.
We would love to continue this live with you in another session.
Great. It would be great to see you guys in the flesh, so to speak.
So maybe
And I'd just
you
like
will
to
be
say,
able to be at your studio.
everybody for coming. Yeah, that would be nice. Everyone's welcome for everyone. But you know, thanks everyone for popping in. It's really, really great for me to be able to chat to people and to meet with people. And it's something that oh, Christine just arrived as I'm finishing off. It's great to be able to chat to people and to have this conversation, because that's what it really is about for me. All of you make it. I mean, I guess I can, but that would be crazy. But it's wonderful for me to talk to everyone and spend time with everyone. And actually, this for me, my takeaway is I will go make more art because I have had this conversation with you guys. So you guys have helped me a lot. So I really, really appreciate that. And thanks everyone for stopping in.
Thank you, and thank you everyone, and to see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Great. Second
you
live with Gavin Rain in 2 weeks. Thank you everyone. Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.